For the first time, my adopted daughter truly felt comfortable with me. I'm 6'5", with full-sleeve tattoos covering both arms, and my younger daughter was absolutely terrified of me when we first met at the adoption agency 6 months ago. The caseworker had warned us that she and her older sister had been in 3 different foster homes before landing with an elderly couple who could no longer care for them. She was 7 years old and had learned not to trust easily, especially not men who looked like they belonged in a motorcycle club. The first 3 months living with us were brutal. She'd only give me one-word answers. How was school? Fine. Want to play a game? No. Meanwhile, she'd talk my wife's ear off about everything from her favorite cartoon characters to what she wanted to be when she grew up. My wife kept telling me to be patient, that she'd come around eventually. I figured it'd take years before she saw me as anything other than some scary biker guy she was stuck with. Then last Tuesday changed everything. My wife took my older daughter to the mall around 2 p.m. to get supplies for the upcoming school year, and I was watching the younger one. We'd had breakfast together that morning, and she'd asked permission to play outside, barely making eye contact with me while she asked. I told her of course she could and went back to answering work emails on my laptop in the kitchen. About 20 minutes later, I heard our neighbor's German Shepherd barking through the fence. The dog does this constantly, so I didn't think much of it at first. But then the barking got more insistent and I heard her scream. I jumped up so fast I knocked my coffee over and ran outside. Found her standing about 15 feet from the chain link fence, completely frozen, staring at this massive 90-pound dog on the other side. The shepherd was just sitting there wagging his tail with a tennis ball in his mouth, but to a 7-year-old who'd never had a pet, he probably looked like a wolf. That's when she did something that absolutely broke me. She turned around, saw me standing in the doorway, and ran straight to me. Grabbed my legs with both arms and buried her face against my jeans. Then she whispered so quietly I almost didn't hear it. "Daddy, please make him go away." First time she'd ever called me that. My throat tightened and I had to take a second before I could speak. I picked her up and she wrapped her arms around my neck while I walked us over to the fence. The dog was still sitting there patiently, tail going a mile a minute because he just wanted someone to throw his ball. I knelt down with her still clinging to me and stuck my hand through the fence. The shepherd immediately licked it and pushed his head against my palm. "See, sweetie," I said. "He's not mean at all. He's just lonely and wants to play." She peeked out from my shoulder and watched him for a few seconds. I could feel her heart racing against my chest. Then slowly, so slowly, she reached one tiny hand through the fence. The dog very gently licked her fingers and she gasped. But instead of pulling away, she started laughing. Actually laughing for the first time around me. "He's silly," she said, still in my arms. "Want to throw his ball?" I asked. She nodded and I set her down. She picked up the tennis ball from our side of the fence and tossed it over. The shepherd took off like a rocket, grabbed it, and brought it right back to her hand through the fence. She was laughably grossed out by the dog slobber, but threw it again anyway. We must have done this for 20 minutes and she completely forgot why she was scared in the first place. When we finally headed back inside, I made her lunch, just a grilled cheese and apple slices. But instead of taking her plate to eat in front of the TV like usual, she sat at the kitchen table with me. I started telling her about the work project I was finishing up, not really expecting her to care. That's when the questions started. "What do your tattoos mean? Did it hurt? Can I get one when I'm older? Do you have more under your shirt? Will you teach me to ride a motorcycle someday?" 47 questions in 30 minutes. I counted. My wife came home 3 hours later to find us building a blanket fort in the living room using every pillow and sheet we owned. My daughter was explaining to me very seriously that the fort needed to have a secret password and that the neighbor's dog should be allowed to visit on weekends. My wife just stood in the doorway with tears in her eyes and mouthed, "What happened?" I smiled and whispered back, "I'll tell you later." That night, when I tucked my daughter into bed, she hugged me goodnight for the first time, worth every second of those 6 months of waiting.